The Lost Heir. Episode 5. Join me as I take you through the convoluting part of The Lost Heir. When destiny finally speaks. The news of 8 sudden wealth spread far beyond his village. Traveling traders carried the story along dusty roads and forest paths. Hunters spoke of it around night fires. Market women repeated it in distant towns. A young farmer has discovered buried gold. A poor man has suddenly become rich. But what surprised everyone most was not the gold itself. It was the way Ode behaved after finding it. Many expected him to change. People believed wealth always changed a man. But Ode remained the same humble farmer he had always been. If anything, he became even kinder. He repaired broken houses for widows. He paid debts for struggling farmers. He bought seeds and tools for young men who wanted to start farming. And when someone thanked him, Ode always replied with the same words. Whatever blessing comes to a man must also serve the people around him. The villagers began to admire him deeply. They said his heart was greater than his fortune. But while kindness was growing in Ade's village, anger was growing somewhere else. Far away in Oko village, Obe could not sleep peacefully anymore. Every time he heard the story of the young farmer who had found gold, his chest burned with suspicion. He remembered the robbery clearly. He remembered the heavy bag of gold the robbers had taken from him. He remembered the humiliation of being overpowered in his own house. And now, somewhere out there, a stranger was living comfortably with wealth that he believed belonged to him. The thought tormented him. One evening, after hearing the story again from passing traders, Obe made a decision. I will find this man, he said angrily. If that gold is mine, I will take it back. Without wasting time, he prepared for the journey. Accompanied by a few men, he traveled toward the village where Ode lived. The journey took several days. Dusty roads stretched before them. Forests surrounded their path. But Obe's mind remained focused on only one thing: the gold. When he finally arrived at the village, the first thing he noticed was something unusual. People spoke about Ode with respect. Not fear. Not jealousy. Respect. That young man has helped many families here, one villager told him. His kindness is rare. Obe frowned. He did not care about kindness. He cared about the treasure. Eventually, someone directed him to Ade's farm. It was a modest place compared to Obe's vast plantations. But the land was well kept. Crops were growing beautifully. Workers moved peacefully across the field. And in the middle of it all stood Ode, walking alongside them. Obe walked toward him. Ode noticed the stranger approaching. He wiped the sweat from his face and greeted him politely. Welcome, traveler. How can I help you? Obe studied the young man carefully. Strong. Calm. Nothing about him looked like a thief. Still, Obe spoke harshly. I heard you found gold buried in your land. Ode did not deny it. Yes, I discovered it while working on my farm. Obe's eyes hardened. That gold belongs to me. The workers nearby stopped and looked toward them. Tension heightened. Ode remained calm. How do you know this? Obe crossed his arms. Many years ago, robbers attacked my house and stole my gold. They ran into the forest. Hunters chased them. One of them died. He pointed toward the ground. They must have buried the gold somewhere during their escape. And you found it? Ode listened carefully. The story sounded believable. But he did not respond immediately. Instead, he said quietly, Come with me. Ode led Obe to the shade of a large tree near the farm. Mama Sod was sitting nearby, weaving a basket. When she saw the visitor, she greeted him respectfully. Obe repeated his story again. Mama Sod listened silently. Then she asked him a question. You said the gold was stolen from you many years ago. Yes, Obe replied. In Oko village. The old woman looked thoughtful. Oko village, that name sounds familiar. She turned toward Ode. My son, do you remember anything about where you came from before I found you? Ode shook his head slowly. I only remember walking with my father through a forest. Then, nothing. Mama Soda's eyes widened slightly. She remembered something important. The day she found the boy many years ago, he had been wearing a small bracelet. An old bracelet made of brass. She had kept it safely all these years. Without saying a word, she stood up and walked inside her house. A few moments later she returned holding the bracelet. She handed it to Ode. Do you recognize this? Ode looked at it carefully. He had seen it before, but he never knew its meaning. Mama Sod turned toward Obe. Look at this bracelet carefully. Obe leaned forward. The moment he saw it, his face changed. His eyes widened in shock. Because he recognized it instantly. It was a bracelet that once belonged to Alao, the wealthy farmer he had served years ago. Alao had given an identical bracelet to his only son. The memory struck Obe like lightning. The dead village. The missing master. The child who disappeared when Alao fled the disease. His voice became unsteady. This bracelet belonged to Alao's family. Mama Sod nodded slowly. Then perhaps destiny has brought the truth today. She looked at Ode gently. My son, it seems you were not born a poor farmer. Obe stared at Ode in disbelief. You are Alao's son. The words hung in the air like thunder. Suddenly, everything made sense. The lost child. The buried treasure. The strange return of wealth. Ode felt a strange emotion rising inside him. For the first time in his life, pieces of his past began to connect. The journey through the forest. His father collapsing. The long years of forgotten identity. Destiny had quietly led him back to what once belonged to his bloodline. Obe lowered his head slowly. For the first time in many years, guilt touched his heart. He had taken the land of a dead man. He had ruled it with cruelty. And now the true heir stood before him. The treasure he had chased was never truly his. It had simply found its way back to the rightful son. Ode looked at Obe calmly. There was no anger in his voice when he spoke. What matters most now is not the past, but what we choose to do with the future. Obe could not meet his eyes. At that moment, the proud and ruthless man felt smaller than he ever had in his life. The villagers who later heard the full story spoke about it for many years. They said something powerful about destiny. You can take what belongs to another. You can even enjoy it for many years. But one day, the earth remembers. And when the time comes, what was lost will always find its way back to its rightful owner. As for Ode, the son of Alao, he continued living exactly the way he had always lived. Kind. Generous. Humble. His wealth grew, his family expanded, and his name became known for goodness across many villages. And people would often tell this story to their children. A story about greed. A story about kindness. But most importantly, a story about destiny that never forgets. Kindly share your views on the comment section. Like if you find the story interesting. Share if it's worth it. Subscribe to the channel for more inspiring stories.